Hello, Virgo. I'm Anna. And right now, someone's internal world is being rewritten because of you. Not metaphorically, not poetically, actually rewritten neural pathways forming new connections, belief systems crumbling and rebuilding, behavioral patterns that felt permanent dissolving, like they were never solid at all. Love, when it reaches certain temperatures, doesn't just warm people, it melts them down completely, then recasts them into forms they didn't know they could take. You might not see this transformation yet, might not have any evidence beyond intuition or hope, but absence of visibility doesn't equal absence of occurrence. Some of the most profound shifts happen in darkness, in privacy, in spaces observers can't access. And what's happening inside this person, the internal revolution, your existence triggered, it's real, accelerating, approaching the point where internal change must produce external evidence, where what they feel becomes what they do. Intensity gets misunderstood constantly. People assume it's about grand gestures, dramatic declarations, movie scene passion. But real intensity, the kind that actually transforms people, it's quieter than that. It's the person who can't sleep because their mind won't stop circling back to you. The one who catches themselves mid sentence realizing they're different now fundamentally because you entered their atmosphere and changed the entire climate. This person might be experiencing that exact disorientation, looking at their own behavior and not recognizing it, making choices that contradict years of established patterns, wanting things they previously dismissed, becoming someone their former self wouldn't believe possible. And you're the catalyst, not the cause they're doing the work, but you're what made the work suddenly feel necessary, possible, worth the discomfort. Change requires motivation stronger than fear. Most people stay exactly who they've always been because transformation hurts, risks failure, demands vulnerability that feels dangerous. They know their current self, its limitations and dysfunctions, and that familiarity offers comfort even when it's painful. Better the devil you know, right? Except when someone appears who makes staying the same feel like the greater risk. When maintaining old patterns means losing access to this person, to this connection, to possibilities that suddenly matter more than comfort, that's when people actually change. Not because they attended therapy or read self help books or had intellectual epiphanies, because staying unchanged became intolerable. You became their intolerable in the best way. Let me map what intense, love driven change actually looks like, because Hollywood's given everyone warped expectations. It's not addiction or obsession disguised as devotion, not someone losing themselves to become what you want. Real transformation preserves selfhood while expanding it. They become more themselves, just better calibrated, more aligned with who they actually want to be versus who fear and conditioning made them. Is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than. This person might be addressing things they've avoided for years, therapy they finally scheduled, addiction they're actually treating seriously, career they're finally pursuing instead of just dreaming about, boundaries with toxic family they're finally enforcing, physical health they're finally prioritizing, Not because you demanded these changes, you probably didn't, but because loving you made them want to become someone worthy of being loved by you. There's a difference between changing for someone and changing because of someone. The first is transactional, performative, unsustainable shape shifting to earn approval, then resenting the person for making you change. The second is aspirational, authentic, lasting, seeing through someone's eyes a version of yourself you actually want to embody, then doing the work to become that. This person isn't changing for you. They're changing because loving you cracked open possibilities they couldn't see before. You're the mirror showing them who they could be, and they like that reflection enough to stop being who they were. What's triggering this particular intensity? Several factors might be converging. Recognition. They might see in you qualities they've been searching for without knowing what they were searching for. Like finally hearing a melody that's been stuck in your head for years. The relief of recognition so profound, it reorganizes everything around itself. You're not just someone they love. You're confirmation that what they needed actually exists in the world. Safety. Maybe you created space where they can be vulnerable without weaponization of that vulnerability later, where weakness doesn't equal ammunition, where they can show broken parts without you running or exploiting. And that safety, actual consistent safety, is so rare it becomes precious enough to change entire lives for challenge. You might be reflecting back standards they're not currently meeting, not through criticism, just through your existence, your integrity showing up, their compromises, your growth highlighting their stagnation, your courage making their fear look like choice rather than fate. And instead of resenting you for that mirror, they're using it to become better. Inspiration. Sometimes love inspires not because the person is perfect, but because they're perfectly themselves. Watching you live authentically might be giving them permission to do the same. Your refusal to shrink, showing them shrinking, isn't mandatory. Your joy demonstrating that aliveness is possible, available, worth pursuing. Which of these feels most accurate for your dynamic? Here's what you need to understand about being the catalyst for someone's transformation. It's not your responsibility to manage, maintain, or validate that transformation. You didn't sign up as their life coach, therapist, or accountability partner. Their change is theirs to sustain. Your job isn't ensuring they keep growing, it's honoring your own boundaries while they figure out who they're becoming. Because some people mistake the catalyst for the destination, think that being with you is the goal rather than becoming worthy of partnership with you. They perform change long enough to secure your presence, then revert once they feel safe you won't leave. That's not real transformation, that's strategy. Real transformation continues, regardless of whether it wins them access to you. They change because they've genuinely become someone who can't tolerate who they were. Your presence initiated it, but their commitment to self evolution sustains it independent of outcome with you. Watch for that difference. Notice whether their growth requires your constant validation or whether it's generating its own momentum. Sustainable change develops internal locus of control. Performative change needs external audience. What might this change look like tangibly? Pay attention to consistency over time, not dramatic gestures in isolated moments. Real transformation shows up in patterns, not exceptions. Behavioral, they might be showing up differently. Communication that was sporadic becoming reliable. Promises that were empty becoming fulfilled. Time that was scarce becoming prioritized. Effort that was minimal becoming substantial. Not overnight transformations need integration time, but progressively, undeniably. Emotional, their emotional regulation could be evolving. Reactions that were explosive becoming measured. Defensiveness that was automatic becoming curiosity. Blame that was reflexive becoming accountability. Walls that were permanent becoming permeable when appropriate. Relational, the way they relate to others might be shifting. Patterns you've noticed with friends, family, exes, coworkers, unhealthy dynamics they kept repeating, starting to look different. Not because they're hiding those patterns from you, but because they're actually interrupting them at the source. Aspirational, their goals and dreams might be crystallizing, things they talked about vaguely now having action plans, futures they imagined passively now being actively built. And you might feature in those futures not as fantasy, but as tangible possibility they're organizing their life around. But here's the complexity: intense love creating change doesn't automatically mean healthy relationship. Someone can transform genuinely while remaining fundamentally incompatible with you, can become their best self and still not be right for your life. Growth is valuable independent of romantic outcome. So if this person is changing because of love they feel for you, that's beautiful, meaningful, evidence of your impact, but it doesn't obligate you to anything. You can witness their transformation, appreciate it, celebrate it, and still choose not to pursue relationship with them. Their growth is its own reward. They don't get you as prize for completing it. That might sound harsh, but it's actually compassionate, because people who change to win someone often haven't changed at all. They've just found new performance material. People who change because someone inspired possibility in them, they've genuinely evolved. And that evolution deserves celebration, whether or not it culminates in partnership. How do you feel about this person's transformation? Responsible, hopeful, skeptical, pressured? Let's address the intensity component more directly. Love that causes transformation isn't mild affection. It's consuming in ways that can feel scary if you're not experiencing equivalent intensity. They might be all in while you're still deciding if you're even interested. That asymmetry creates its own challenges. Their intensity doesn't require your matching intensity. You're allowed to move at your own pace, feel your own feelings, maintain your own boundaries, regardless of how deeply they're experiencing this. Their transformation is amazing for them. It doesn't create debt you must repay with your heart. Intensity also doesn't equal permanence. Some people burn hot fast, transform dramatically, then the fire dies as quickly as it ignited. Others maintain steady heat that sustains transformation long term. Time reveals which type this person is. Don't assume intensity guarantees longevity. What you can assume, this isn't casual for them. Whatever this connection is, however it started, wherever it's going, they're taking it seriously enough to reorganize internal landscapes. That deserves acknowledgement at minimum. Whether it deserves reciprocation is entirely separate question only you can answer. Here's something else about love catalyzed change. It often reveals rather than creates. The capacity for transformation was always there, dormant. You didn't install new software, you just provided the conditions where existing potential could activate. They had this better version inside them all along. Previous people, circumstances, or internal states just didn't inspire accessing it. That's actually hopeful. Means if things don't work out between you, they get to keep the transformation. It wasn't dependent on you specifically. You just happened to be the key that fit their particular lock at this particular time. Someone else could have been that key in different circumstances, which means their growth is theirs to own, integrate, maintain. Some questions worth sitting with. Does their change feel authentic or performative? Are they becoming more themselves or becoming what they think you want? Is the transformation generating internal satisfaction for them or just external validation seeking from you? Do they seem committed to growth beyond this relationship, or is growth entirely about securing this relationship? Those distinctions matter enormously. Answer them honestly, not optimistically. Let me also address what happens if you don't want this intensity. If their transformation feels like pressure, if the weight of being someone's catalyst for change is overwhelming rather than flattering, you're allowed to feel that, allowed to communicate it, allowed to step back even if their love is genuine and their change is real. Because intensity without reciprocity becomes burden. Being loved intensely by someone you don't love back or don't love at that level creates guilt, obligation, discomfort. And staying in that dynamic serves nobody. Not you, certainly, but not them either. They deserve someone who can meet their intensity, not someone tolerating it. So if you're feeling pressured by their transformation, that's information. Maybe you need space to discern your own feelings without their intensity clouding your clarity. Maybe you need to communicate boundaries about pace or expectations. Maybe you need to exit entirely because this isn't your person, regardless of how much they've changed. All of those responses are valid. Your feelings or lack thereof are equally valid as theirs. What would honoring your truth look like here, even if your truth disappoints them? Alternatively, maybe you're feeling equivalent intensity but protecting yourself from it, scared to trust transformation you're witnessing, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Guarding against hope because hope has burned you before. That's also understandable. Wise, even trust should be earned incrementally through demonstrated consistency, not granted immediately because someone's showing promising changes. Let time validate whether this transformation sticks. Let patterns prove themselves over weeks and months, not just days. Let their growth demonstrate sustainability before you invest fully. Slow burning trust built on evidence is stronger than fast igniting trust built on optimism. You can appreciate their change while remaining appropriately cautious about its durability. One more thing about transformation triggered by love. It sometimes creates identity confusion for the person changing. They might feel disoriented, grieving their old self, even while celebrating new self. That grief can manifest as volatility, regression, or ambivalence that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with internal adjustment. Growth isn't linear. People don't transform smoothly from point A to point B. They spiral, backslide, leap forward, plateau, repeat. So if this person who's changing intensely also seems confused or inconsistent at times, that might be normal metamorphosis symptoms rather than evidence of insincerity. Give them grace to be messy while transforming, but don't let messiness become excuse for treating you poorly. Growth includes accountability for behavior, even during difficult transitions. As this reading closes, understand this: being loved intensely enough to inspire transformation is rare, precious, and complicated. It's testament to your impact, the energy you carry, the standards you embody, the possibilities you represent. Not everyone catalyzes change in others. The fact that you do speaks to something powerful within you. But powerful doesn't equal obligatory. Their transformation is gift to themselves, not debt you owe repayment on. Witness it with compassion. Celebrate their growth, and then make whatever choice serves your highest good, regardless of whether that choice includes them. Because you deserve love that doesn't require transformation to function. Love that meets you as you are while naturally inspiring you toward who you're becoming. Love that's reciprocal in intensity, sustainable in expression, and grounded in reality rather than idealization. If this person's change brings them to that level, wonderful. If it doesn't, that's data, not failure. Either way, trust yourself to recognize the difference. Trust your discernment over their declarations. Trust patterns over promises. Trust demonstrated behavior over professed transformation. And trust that whatever unfolds serves your evolution as much as theirs serves them. Share below: have you witnessed someone changing because of their feelings for you? How did that feel? What did you learn? Intensity that creates change is beautiful, but reciprocity that sustains it is essential